Hi, I'm Pastor Sara Withers.
And I'm Heidi McGill. We are the Children's Ministries leaders at the Beaverton Seventh-day Adventist Church in the Oregon Conference.
Today we're here to talk with you about interior intentionality, decorating your space for the biggest impact.
We've all walked into a church at some point in our lives and felt like we just stepped into a time capsule back to the 80s. Our immediate reaction is, whoa, and it's not in a good way. We see church areas often decorated with items from fading trends. Handcrafted curtains in dusty blue and pink calico, well-used quilted banners, drab silk flower arrangements, and lace doilies on every side table. Or, here's a different picture. You walk into a Sabbath school room, you look down at the floor, and you notice the worn, burnt orange carpet with visible stains. There's bleak walls and blank bulletin boards that scream at you for color and life. This room is sad and boring. If my reaction was a feeling of disappointment and a desire to leave, how do you think families and kids walking into this room for the first time would feel?
Environment matters, and it matters a lot. When we enter a room, our senses are on full alert. We take everything in: sight, sound, touch, smell. Oh, and if it's a really bad smell, so bad that you can even taste it, then you really have a problem. How that environment is presented has a huge impact on our willingness to remain and be receptive or run in the opposite direction. Local churches want to draw people in, right? We want it to be a place that is fun for the kids, but also inviting for the whole family. A place where our joy and our message about Jesus is seen throughout. Intentionally attending to the environment of our churches sends a powerful message. Time, money, and thought put into the space of ministry sends the message that you care. You care about the people that are gathering, and you care about the work that you're doing for God. When you neglect the physical things, it communicates that you don't care. I don't believe that any of us sign up for this ministry because we don't care. So what we need is vision to guide our intentionality. The vision we have for our ministry drives what we do. A big vision has big impact, and part of what will give us the best and biggest impact possible is being intentional about the interior spaces where we gather.
We've already mentioned that first impressions matter. Therefore, your first step in making a big impact with your space is to take inventory of what you have. What does your church say to you when you step into it? The next time you walk into your church and your children's areas, put on your visitor glasses and turn your senses on to really notice your surroundings. Close your eyes. What do you smell? Is it good? Stale? Or are you punched in the face with an overwhelming odor? Ask yourself, what do you want your visitors to feel when they come into your space? And then evaluate your space to harness changes that fulfill your vision.
Next, be intentional about your management of time and energy. Not everything you do has to be over the top, nor do you have to do everything. Nobody has time to do everything, and let's face it, not everyone is created creative. First things first, prioritize by putting your energy into that which will give you the biggest bang for your buck. Take inventory of all the tasks that could be accomplished and pick out the ugliest, nastiest job and do that first. Create a prioritized list using this idea. If you only have enough time for that one most important thing, what would it be? For the two most important things, what would those two things be? For three things, what would those three things be? Conserve energy, save time, and create the biggest impact by prioritizing your tasks.
So, now that you've taken in your space and you've assessed the areas of need, you have a job ahead of you. So get those gears in motion. Now, I'm sad to say, many of us get on a roll and our imagination is on fire. And then reality swoops in and reminds us that, we have a budget. So, where is the money to update our departments? Whether you have a healthy budget or a non-existent budget, you can realize your vision. Being on a budget doesn't mean that the space can't have life and look fun. When formulating your ideas, think about the costs of the items. Can you repurpose something to meet that need? Or is buying a must? Then, do a little sleuthing. Can you find what you need used? This will stretch your pennies far. If purchasing new is necessary, do you have the funds? If not, put out a request in your church to meet that specific need. When repurposing an item, a little paint or spray paint can work wonders when giving an item a facelift. If we're talking about walls though, sometimes your church will put the kibosh on painting. But a butcher paper or something called Better Than Paper, which is a plasticized fabric roll, those are awesome. You can get so many different styles in those. Wood, brick, stone, anything you want. Also, a peel and stick wallpaper is amazing. Finding, or if you have a silhouette or Cricut machine, creating some vinyl lettering or wall decals can quickly bring interest to your space. In several areas of our church, we have displayed selected Bible texts on clear plexiglass or on framed glass. This not only gives it a modern look, it can be easily moved. For bulletin boards, grab some colorful butcher paper and a cute border, like the ones you see behind me. If you can't hang additional artwork on the walls, think of ways to add dimensions to your bulletin boards. There are so many resources to pull from. Pinterest, Google search, children's ministries blogs, you name it. The idea is probably out there. Now, to that hideous carpet. Understandably, most of you won't be able to replace it, but you can change it by distracting from it. One of the easiest and quickest solutions is to first clean it. Next, think of ways that you can distract from it. Put down a nice big area rug that minimizes it. And if you have a large space, using multiple rugs to define your zones is great. Find ways that make color modern. Many of the colors of yesteryear are being repurposed and simply used in different ways. Find ways to tie in that awkward color to make the design feel more intentional. Now, donated items. They are fantastic. You know that saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. It's true. We get so many awesome items for our church through the generosity of others. But sometimes one man's trash just becomes your trash. Not all of those treasures have a true purpose or need to clutter your space. Plan for how items can be used in multiple different ways. Repurpose, rejuvenate, and then pass on the rest.
Whether decorating for Sabbath school, VBS, or a health expo, you want your space to radiate the feeling that you've been mindful and that you want those who attend to be positively impacted. Whether big or small, your goal is to transform your spaces so that they are enjoyable and exciting environments that families and kids will want to return to. We hope that you will take these tips, practice them, and expand them to meet the needs of your local church environment and your local community.
My topic is making children's story memorable. I love telling the children's story in church. I have a picture in my office that reminds me of the time when we could have in-person children's story. The main aim of the story that you tell should be to help make the sermon understandable to the children. The key elements remain the same though: preparing for the story, honing the story, and telling the story. So here are some pointers for that. In your preparation for the story, remember these things. Before you can tell the story, you have to call the preacher. When you do, ask him or her these questions. What is your key thought or your main point in the sermon? If the congregation remembers only one thing from the sermon, what would you like it to do? Then ask for the main Bible verse. And thirdly, find out how much time you have to tell the story. That's an important factor as well. Where do you begin to find a story that fits that key factor, that key thought that you've been told? If you are a natural storyteller, you may be fortunate enough to come up with a story from one of your own life experiences. I often resort to the internet. I go to my search engine, enter the scripture, and add children's story, sermon or devotional. Very often it will come up with some options. They may not be suitable, but they may set you on a track of thinking that you can adapt to fit the main point of the sermon. There are numerous books from Christian publishing houses with children's sermons, object lessons, and science experiments with applications. I've tried some and really they work well. Now, how do you hone that story? Now that you have your idea for the story, your next step is to think it through and what you want the children to understand better. One caution, speak to the children and not to the adults. You can explain new words and use new concepts, but use concrete things that they can grasp. Practice it out aloud or write it out so that you can be sure you are within your time limit. Be sure that the application comes across clearly. That's the most important takeaway. What do you think they need to remember? How can the Holy Spirit speak to their hearts through what you are saying? And then the third important part about telling the story. Get as close as you can to the children's eye level. I like to use a low-down stool, sometimes ones that look like cubes that you can take the lid off, and then you can use it for hiding things as well. If the children are at home, make sure you are looking at the camera so you can connect with them. Have a place where children can gather, like a special carpet. Then even the visitors know where to go for the story. Wherever possible, use a meaningful attention getter. If it's a hidden surprise in a gift box or something under a cloth or in a big bag like this, all the better. When you tell the story, use your Bible. Tell them where it's found. Use the chapter and verse. Vary the objects you use to tell the stories. Stones, puppets. Something like this, just drawing faces on, or even something like this that I used for the nativity story this year. Enjoy using a hands-free mic like this one so that you can use your hands and be able to do more things with the children. I wish you a wonderful storytelling experience and hope you can use these pivot points to make your children's story memorable.
Hi, I've been asked to show some foods that you can use at VBS or maybe an after-school program for underprivileged kids, and they're supposed to be healthy foods. And I know that kids don't all just run after healthy foods, so we have to see if we can make them fun and attractive. So I think you'll discover some ideas today you'll enjoy. And I'm sure that they would never like something like roasted artichoke with asparagus dip, so I'm not going to be showing you that one. But also, I know that I don't really like to encourage snacks for kids. It's really better if they have well-rounded breakfast and lunch, and they won't need snacks. But I know that sometimes with your programs, the kids come in hungry and haven't had the opportunity and have learned yet about the importance of a healthy breakfast and lunch, and so you do need to have something available. Now, for those of you who are doing a Bible Times theme VBS this summer, here are some little delicacies from Bible Times: dried figs, dates, pomegranate, and if you can get a real pomegranate and slice it and show the kids, that would be fun. And here's some almonds and pistachios. And interestingly enough, pistachios and almonds are mentioned in the Bible. And I've given you in your handout a list of some Bible verses. You might want to even read those Bible verses to the children. And here's some other foods that are originated. Pita bread, whole wheat pita bread. Pita bread originated in the Middle East. And here's some little pizzas with sliced olives. You can serve it that way, or maybe as a flour. And you have a handout that you can download that will give you pictures of some of these foods and recipes. So you have that to use. Now, grapes, of course, are a food from Bible Times, and God's foods are always wonderfully delicious and a great choice. You can just serve them like that, or if you want to get a little more elaborate and serve them as a little tree, that's a fun way to do it. And here's something. I know these little fig Newtons weren't served in Bible Times. I'm sure they had other fig delicacies because figs were eaten in Bible Times. But here's something that you can make, and they're really not that hard. You just take the fig Newton and you slice it off on one side so you see the pages of the book on the three sides and the binding here. And then you take a little fruit roll up and slice it in a toothpick and push it in, and then put some icing around the edge. There you have your little Bibles. It really didn't take very long to make these. And if you had teen helpers, they'd have great fun making these. Here's an idea: a little apple pizza with ground up crushed granola bar with some angel flake coconut and raisins, and the kids can just eat them like this. You could use even granola instead of crushed granola bars on the top. And if you're in a hurry, here's just peanut butter on a whole grain cracker, and it has a grape sliced on it. And this is the peanut butter raisin jelly. That's a super little quickie, healthy dessert. Trail mix, great way to do it. And this one here, this is my grandson, he loved this one. This was one of his favorite. This is the peanut butter yogurt dip, and you can just dip the apple in. And remember to be sure to, ahead of time, dip your apple into pineapple juice or fruit fresh so it doesn't brown. Unless, like this one happens to be the Cosmic Crisp, it doesn't brown at all. You didn't even have to do that. You can have yogurt covered blueberries loaded with antioxidants. And on your VBS form, be sure to have food allergies. And like if somebody was allergic to dairy, or you had people and you wanted to have it vegan, you can serve coconut yogurt, you can use almond yogurt, soy yogurt, lots of options. So those are a few things. Oh, popcorn. These are little boxes that I got and ordered on the internet, and it's a nice little small serving. It's only It's only 2 1/4 cups of popcorn, which would be about a nice size for smaller kids. I mean, bigger kids might want more, but that's a nice small size. You can have fun too. These were great fun, and oh, they were yummy. Here are some little peanut butter bumblebees, and these are fun to make. And you just shape the mixture into an oval and put almond wings and some little I use mini chocolate chips, a little vermicelli antenna, and then you take a toothpick and a little cocoa and press it in to the center, and there you have your bees. Vegetables can be made fun too. Here's some little veggie shish kebab sticks, and you can do fruit sticks too. And this little star on the top out of a cucumber I made it using a little star cookie cutter, so it didn't take much time. So that would be a way that I think would look attractive. And I put lots of olives because kids usually always like olives. And here are some veggies that are made into little animals, little caterpillars and worms. And you just stick on these are candy eyeballs, and you just stick it on with either the cream cheese, and I use the Daiya cream cheese here. You could use real cream cheese or the substitute. And then with the peanut butter, you just stick on the eyes with the peanut butter. And the kids could make these. My grandson had great fun making these, so some of them. So you could do that too. On a hot summer day, the little popsicles would be good. Here's the strawberry yogurt one with the granola filling, and here's the banana strawberry kiwi one, and then just a fruit smoothie frozen. And you know how you put the tin foil on the top and stick your popsicle stick in and freeze it that way. So that way this holds your popsicle stick upright. I'm sure that you have many ideas of healthy, fun foods for kids. And it's really important that we help our kids learn that healthy foods can be tasty and delicious and fun to eat.